Hey, the forearms play a really vital role in not only generating more power in the golf swing, but also they play a very heavy role in the downswing in controlling the blade. So you can get the club face consistently square, hit a lot of fairways. So right after this, let's take a little deeper look into the specific actions of what the forearms do so that you can have a little bit more power and control in your golf game. Stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve with HitItLonger.com. I continue my journey to hit it longer and straighter, not only off the tee, but also into all the greens, because hitting it like that is just more fun. You'd like to have a little bit more fun, maybe gain a little yardage off the tee, then by all means join me. Hit the subscribe button right down there in the corner. Like this video at the end if you got some benefit, and of course leave a comment down below if you have any questions about what I'm about to show you. First, let's dispel something that a lot of people believe, because so many millions of people have read the Hogan 5 Lessons book, one of the most popular books of all time, and it was a really good instruction book, but he had his nomenclature a little bit wrong. So this is not supination here. Supination is taking the, if you have the palm down, supination is turning the palm up, and pronation would be with the palm up and you're going to turn it down. So that's supination and pronation. This has nothing to do with supination. All right, so let's take a little deeper look into first the left forearm. The left forearm from an anatomical position will start about 90 degrees. So this bone right here is facing the camera and my thumb is kind of pointing at the camera, and that's where you would grip the club. Now, if you follow the Austin swing method, the first eighth of the swing and the first couple hours of the swing are going to be governed by the pivot, and the pivot is going to stimulate the turn of the torso like this. So once I've arrived at this position, about the eighth position where the club is now on my right pocket, I really haven't done anything with the forearm yet because the right wrist has not cocked yet. So the left forearm's rotation and the right hand cocking are going to kind of work integrally together. And so once I get past this eighth, I am going to start to pronate that forearm 90 degrees till I get to here. Okay, now that's all it's going to do on the backswing. When it comes to the downswing, we're going to be getting into the slot here, and right about here we're really starting to ramp up this turning back again, this torque on the grip of turning the forearm or supinating it. Now what we're trying to do is time the rotation back to square of this forearm with the flap of the wrists, and that gets us to 30 inches past the ball. So we're back in our original starting position here, but then we've added the flap here. So right now still my arm bone's facing the camera. At 30 inches past the ball, that's when I'm going to continue to complete the 180 degrees of supination. So from here, now continue to supinate another 90 degrees, and that takes me all the way around to the finish. So that's the action of the left forearm. It's actually very simple. It's, if you isolated it, it starts here, turns 90 degrees, then turns 180 degrees. But if you only had that information, you didn't have the complete picture of what the wrists, forearms, arms are all doing in the golf swing. So you got to remember, isolated, it's going to look a little bit funny. You might look at me kind of puzzled. All right, let's take a look at the right forearm now. The right forearm has got a little bit more of a nuance to it, and it's kind of like this. So really the right forearm, put a club in this hand, the right forearm, actually we'll do it without a club first. With that, is really not going to do any rotation at all. So I start to extend the right wrist into a 90-degree angle. It's right about here is the only place in the backswing where we're going to have any kind of rotation of the forearm at all. Let me show you from this angle. So here I get to about here, there's basically no rotation of the forearm till right here. I'm going to wind the forearm up at the very top of the swing. So I'm going to do a little bit of a pronation, and that's going to get the club on line with the target and get my forearm fully wound up. so that now I can unwind the forearm or supinate the forearm, aided by the upper arm bone externally rotating, so something like that. So the forearm supination is being assisted by the muscles here and the rotator cuff on the back of my shoulder. The whole arm is turning, so I go from here to here. And so I've kind of supinated at this point. That gets me into the slot, where now I'm going to flap the right wrist and then pronate over after 30 inches after the ball. So just like this. Show you this move again. A lot of people are confused by this. Here, okay, now the arm bones have lined up. I flap and then pronate the forearm a full 90 degrees over till I get to the finish like that. Now again, when those motions are shown just in isolation, they can leave the Austin disciple a little bit puzzled. But remember, you're putting all this together with the pivot, turn to the torso, the shift of the weight, all the other actions together in the swing, what makes it all come out good. All right, let's take a little more of a slow-mo look at what my forearms are doing throughout the swing from a couple different angles. All right, so looking back at those swings in slow-mo, you can kind of see the nuances, what the forearms are doing. But I want to leave you with a drill that'll help you really get the simple idea down of what to do with the forearms. As most golfers that I teach, they don't do this motion very well. They simply don't apply enough torque with the forearms in order to get the club to come around and square up. So a lot of people just don't know kind of how to apply this downswing torque to the grip, propel the club forward and get it squaring. So simply, you can even do this on the sofa. You just sit here with the club in front of you. You just turn this way and go 180 degrees like that. Really simple Mike Austin drill. I've got my logo at the camera. Now my logo is back at my belt buckle. So going 180 degrees of supination in this wrist, and then we're doing just 90 degrees pronation. So again, these bones here are reasonably square, just slightly supinated, and we're going to take those all the way over the folding left forearm to get the club face square and propel it around the circle. All right, so hopefully this made you aware of some of the muscles in the forearms that help to not only propel the club around the circle for speed, but also the necessary torque or force applying to the grip in order to make the club face get square. That has to happen, has to have some active force there in order to keep the ball from slicing off to the right. So I'd really encourage you to try this simple drill first at home, then take it to the range, do small shots with small clubs first. If you're a slicer, see if you can use that to get the ball going a little straighter, maybe turning over and promoting a little bit of draw for you. All right, so I'm gonna go back to work on my swing, because in that video I spotted a couple errors in my swing that I know I gotta keep working on. Hey, the journey continues. The journey to learn and get better never ends. Thanks for watching my channel. I'm Steve, and as usual, hey, I'll either see you in the next video or I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.